Well, order, John. I'm on board, so I think I have to run the meeting.
Go ahead.
Not that I want you to run it, but
No. You're the secretary. You're the next officer. We didn't know if you were. I didn't know you were on or whatever. So step right to it, my friend.
okay, we'll open the meeting. I'm sorry, Tara.
John Rice, would you like me to do that for you as well, to call the roll?
Sure. Yes.
Okay.
Well, it's Gloria's on board. It's for the Gloria's.
What?
Make sure she's taking notes, that's all.
Yeah, I am.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we'll call it to order, roll call vote. And the seating of alternates. I assume I'm still unmuted, okay.
Yeah, I got you. John B. Lenke,
Present.
Mike Krogel,
Here.
John Rice,
Present.
Alvin Hill,
Alvin Hill, present.
Brian Santos,
Present.
Christine Chattel,
Present.
Charlene Langlois,
Present.
and Randy is coming in right now, guys.
Okay, we'll turn the baton over to him if he doesn't know it, but I can do it if he doesn't have his, Randy, do you hear me? All right.
He's still coming in. It's taking
Okay.
him a minute.
Well, why don't you continue, Tara, with the roll call, and then we can move on.
That was it. Randy will be the last one.
That was it? Okay.
Yep. Randy,
you
let
have
us
to-
know when you're in on your phone, when you're in on your audio.
Don't you have to say who's absent for the minutes?
I think that comes in the seating of alternates, but
Okay.
Randy, are you in?
He's muted.
Yeah, I'm in now.
Okay, because technically you are the chair. Joe Peroty's not going to make it. John Rice started off, and now you're in as vice chair. It would be your deal.
Randy, do you have the agenda to follow it? I can give you a hand with that if you like.
You're muted, Randy.
I guess he didn't really want
Better?
to run it, John. Oh, there he is.
Yeah, we've got you now. We've got you now.
Okay, we're ready to go?
Yeah.
We just need to seat the alternates. So you've got Brian Santos and Alvin, who are alternates who are here. Missing are Joe Peroty, who we know is going to not be in tonight, Bob Werge, Chris Nelson, Missy DeRozier. I believe that is it. Those are the 4 absent regular members.
All right. We seat Brian Santos for Joe Peroty. And I missed who the other one was, you said.
Alvin is here,
Good-
Bob,
You can
Missy,
see,
and Chris are not.
you can see Alvin for Bob Word.
Yeah, okay. Alvin, you're in for Bob Word. And that's all we've got on deck right now, right?
Right.
Yeah, I don't see Dave Poplawski yet, so.
Okay. All right, so we'll call the March meeting of Planning and Zoning Commission to order. And we've seated the alternates. There's no public hearing, correct? I got to tell you, I was looking through this agenda and whatnot and going over some of the, I looked at it back the end of last week, Friday night, I think. But I was just starting to go through it now. I just got in about 15 minutes ago. So John, I'm looking forward to plenty of help. All right, no public hearing. Next item, and no public hearing to discuss. Item 4, approve the minutes of February 22, 2021, regular planning and zoning meeting minutes. Motion,
I'll make that motion, Mr. Vice Chair.
I'll second it. Alvin Hill.
okay. Motion made and seconded. Any discussion? Additions, corrections?
Nope.
Yes, I have a correction. This is Gloria.
Yeah,
In the February 22nd minutes, under application 2105, when I recorded the motion, I typed in 2101, application 2101 by mistake. I did notify the chair, Joe Perotti, and he said to correct it at this meeting.
all right. 2104,
No, 20, under application 2105 in the February 22nd minutes.
Okay, yeah. Okay, it's on the second page.
Gloria, what line item is probably easier to follow that?
I think it's on page 2 or 3.
It's on page,
Okay.
yeah, it's on
That-
page 4.
Page
That's
4,
what-
Yes,
do you see it?
yep. I'm looking at, it says, application 2, wait a minute, 21, wait a minute, okay. Up, page 3, there's 2 of them.
What application was that?
Application
2101 is supposed to be 2104, is that correct?
Okay.
05.
05?
Oh,
Yeah,
this is
it starts
before-
on two.
this
You're
is
right,
not coming up
Gloria.
yet. They're still doing all the minutes.
Oh, okay. Change them. Hawaiian.
If,
Huh?
Gloria, if that was item 5, applications 2101, if that's supposed to be 2105,
No,
Yep.
no, 2101 is right.
okay,
It's
all right,
2105.
okay, all right. That's what I was gonna. So it's in the motion that you're correcting, right?
Correct. I
Okay,
typed a 1 instead of a 5.
yeah, right. That's the one Brian Santos moved and Randy seconded. Vote to approve application 2101, and you want to change that.
Okay, well, so
So noted. So has a motion been made, Mr. Chairman, Vice Chair, is to approve that, these minutes with corrections?
it hasn't, not with corrections. There was a motion made, but John, if you change your motion to
Yeah, I will,
accept it with corrections,
yes, I will do that, Mr. Vice Chair. I'll change my motion for that application, which should be 2105 instead of 2101, with the amendments that be changed to that.
and you accept that, Alvin?
Yes, Alvin accepts it.
Okay, so we have a motion and second to approve the minutes as corrected, the February 22nd meeting. I gotta figure out how to get a list of who's here, so I know,
Okay,
do a roll call.
Mr. Chairman,
Yeah,
Vice Chair, I mean, Miss Tara will do that for us. She, she'll do the call. That's how we done it before a couple of times instead of, it's hard to keep the list.
I'd appreciate it if you do that, Tara. I don't have, I'm about 2 steps behind the 8 ball here, because I was just coming through. I didn't know that this was gonna be my job tonight.
No, no, it's fine. I didn't find out from Joe till late either. Yeah, I can do the rolls for the vote calls all night then. So John B. Lenke,
Present, yes.
Mike Krogel,
yes.
Alvin Hill,
Yes,
John Rice,
I'll abstain. I wasn't at the meeting.
Okay. Randy Blackmer,
Yes.
Christine Chattel,
Yes.
Brian Santos,
Yes.
and Charlene Langlois.
Yes.
I think I got everybody.
Okay, so anyone, not, everyone was in favor or abstain, right? We have the roll call, a motion passes.
Sorry.
I'm sorry?
It's just background noise, Randy.
Okay. Item B, approve the minutes of March 4th, special meeting minutes. Motion to approve would be in order.
I'll motion to approve the March 4th special meeting minutes.
In a second,
I'll second it, Mr. Vice Chair, John Linky.
all right, Brian Santos makes a motion, John Linky seconds. Any discussion, additions, corrections, omissions? If not, those in favor say aye. Well, I'm gonna, no, I guess we want to do a roll call. Joseph does a
Yeah,
roll
that's fine.
call.
Gloria,
for
would
it.
you note that Dave Poplawski is in the meeting, and Randy, you'll have to seat Dave for someone, either Chris Nelson
Linda,
or.
leave the ball in
DeRosa.
there.
Great, we'll set Dave for Chris Nelson.
Okay, so on a roll call vote, John B. Lenke,
Yes.
Mike Krogel,
Yes.
Brian Santos,
Yes.
Randy
What do you got?
Blackmer,
Well,
Yes,
Christine Chattel,
Yes.
Alvin Hill,
all right, I'll text
Yes.
it to you. Hang on.
Dave Poplawski,
Yes.
John Rice,
John Rice, yes. I was absent, but
Charlene.
wait a minute. Just for the record, I was absent, but I did read the minutes. Probably should have said that on the earlier one also, but. And that's the legal part of it. If you read the minutes, then you can vote on it.
and Charlene Langlois.
Abstain, I didn't read the minutes.
okay,
I believe that is everyone, Mr. Chairman.
Tara, could you give me Alvin Hill's vote? Did he
Alvin-
Alvin was a yes.
a yes?
Yes.
Thank you.
okay, motion to approve the minutes passes. Next, approve the minutes for the March 9th meeting, special meeting. Motion to approve would be in order.
I'll make that motion, Mr. Vice Chair, John B. Lincoln.
In a second,
Mike Kroger will second it.
okay, I have a motion made and seconded to approve the minutes as printed. Anyone have any corrections, additions, omissions? If not, a yes vote will be to approve the minutes. Go for it, Tara.
All right, John B. Lenke,
Yes.
Mike Krogel,
Yes.
Alvin Hill,
Yes.
John Rice,
I'll abstain. Not at the meeting, nor did I read the minutes.
Randy Blackmer,
I have to abstain.
okay, Christine Chattel,
I have to abstain also.
Brian Santos,
Abstaining.
Dave Poplawski,
Tara, what minutes were these?
March 9th.
Last night?
March 9th.
Last night. Yeah,
Last
where were
night.
you, Dave? Last night, Sunday.
Yes.
okay, Charlene
Sorry, I'm just
Langlois,
evaluating.
Abstain.
okay, I believe that is everyone. Yes, that is everyone.
what was the count on it? That, does it, did we have enough votes to pass it?
Gloria, what did you mark as the count?
We have four, Lenke, Krogel, let's see here, Poplawski, 1, 2, and Hill. All yeses.
All right, so, we don't have a majority vote on it, but majority of those voting did this, is that acceptable?
I
Good.
believe that represents the majority of the commissioners who were in attendance at that meeting.
Okay, so, well, I'll rule that motion passes, and if it's not right, we can correct it another time. Okay, item 5, the planning and zoning application 21-04, applicant Keith and Carolyn Champagne, property owner Charles Adam, 230 Pleasant Street, Seekonk, Mass, for property located at 1321 Thompson Ave, map 114, lot 24, lot 54, zone RRAD, request for 2-lot subdivision.
Daniel was supposed to be here tonight, so do you want to just go on to the next one and see if Danielle comes in on the meeting? Because I know David Held is here for application 2006.
Okay, we'll
Excuse me,
move on.
2106.
But if he doesn't show up, though, then what happens? We don't.
Well, I'll
I'll
discuss
discuss-
it. I'll just-
I'll make a motion that we approve it. If everybody read
No, you can't approve it because inland wetlands hasn't given their approval.
Well, it can be
nor
a
has-
condition of
Nor has
the,
North.
Or do we just put it on till next meeting?
Well, but it's that he just wanted you to review and do. And if there is any, excuse me, if you have questions, he could answer or get them ready for next month. Well, that's basically what he said he was going to do. I mean, I don't have any questions. I looked through it and it looked all right.
You were breaking up a little, Cindy, so are we supposed to we're supposed to wait for inland wetlands approval on this anyway, right?
To approve it and the Department of Health given the approval. No.
Cindy, you might have to shut off your video. We're getting a lot of lag time on you, and sometimes if you shut the video off, it'll improve.
Okay. Works for me.
All right, so you need to repeat that again because you were breaking up and I didn't get what you said.
Okay, Daniel Blanchett was supposed to be here. He represents the applicant, and he was coming to answer any questions that the committee.
There you go again.
Mr. Vice Chair,
Yes,
why don't we just,
Accepted
if
because we don't have Inland Wetlands Commission approval, and we don't have Northeast Department of Health approval.
all right,
So-
so we'll just postpone, we'll just put this to bring up at the next meeting.
Sure, that's great. Yep.
co-chair, I'll make a motion that we table this till next month's meeting.
Okay.
I'll
John,
second.
go.
was that a second, John?
No, I think it was Dave Poplawski or Brian
It,
Sanders.
Okay.
it was me, it was me, Brian Santos.
Brian, okay.
Yep.
So we have a motion and a second to
We'll table this till next
table
month.
this till next meeting. Those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, no.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. Hearing none, we'll reschedule that application for the next meeting. PZC application 20-06, applicant Strategic Commercial Realty Incorporated, doing business as Rawson Materials, applicant property owners Lynn Rawson Landry and Cheryl Jane Fauché, 0 Portic Town Farm Road, map 145, block 14, lot 14, zone R40, gravel operation renewal permit.
Okay, I sent you the pictures, the colored pictures, because the property certainly, you can see a lot better, view of the property in the colored pictures. They only did, I think, what, 80,000 cubic yards last year, so they have 100,000 cubic yards to go. The silt fence is in place. Marla didn't have any issues with it. And they're just doing a good job, and they're just continuing till they finish their gravel operation. If anybody has any questions, or David, if you have anything to add, David Held is here tonight. If you have anything to add, please do so.
For the record,
Anyone have
David,
any questions for David?
I just want to clarify one thing. Cindy mentioned that they had taken out, I believe, 80,000 yards last year. They actually took out 30,000 yards last year,
Oh,
and I believe 50,000 in the previous permit period. So they've taken out a total of 80,000. They've got 100,000 left to go.
apologize, David. I'm sorry.
No problem.
Anyone, any questions for David Held?
Is that the last of it, Dave? The 100,000? That'll conclude on it?
Yes.
Roughly? Yeah.
Yep. This past year, they actually finished the final phase of clearing out there. So they're just starting to do some of the stripping work on that last phase there, which is over on the west side, if you've got the plan in front of you there.
Yeah. I'm also assuming all fees and everything's paid up to date with all these calculations.
Well, what they did with the fees, they actually paid last year. Oh, and I left the folder. I usually don't do that, but last year they paid for 130, I believe,
Okay.
thousand cubic yards. So I didn't charge them, because they paid for everything that was left to do last year.
Okay.
So I didn't charge them any fees this year.
Yep. Just want to make sure.
Okay. Tara, are you showing the pictures?
Yes.
Um,
I'm showing one. The way they're sent to me, I have to sort of back out and reshare each time, but I can do that if you want to move on to the next one.
Yeah, I would like, because I think the pictures really show the quality work that is being done there. What did you
Okay,
guys?
so just
what did
bear
you
with
members
me then.
think of the pictures?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's at the end of it, right, David? That way in the back there, that's the end of the.
Yeah, that's the phase that they just cleared off this past year. And they're doing the stripping and starting to work on that now.
That's where the 100,000 yards are, over where the equipment is there.
It's in there, and then they've still got a little bit more depth that they can dig out there along the, I guess what we would call the working face there.
Does anyone have any questions for Mr. Held?
David, John Rice, will that become another pond once they finish that area, or?
Well, it's all going to be combined into one contiguous pond when it's all done.
Okay.
I'll make a motion, Mr. Co-Chair. I'll make a motion to approve the renewal permit for application 20-06 for approximately 100,000 cubic yards.
Second motion.
Who was the second?
Well, I did, but I don't know if Charlene piped in also, so. Pick a.
We'll let Charlene do it. I mean, we'll give her credit for it. Motion made and seconded to renew the gravel permit. Any further questions? If not, we'll do a roll call vote. Those in favor, say aye.
I hope they didn't talk about it already.
Aye.
Well, do you want a roll call on that one because it's approving an application?
I can just do verbal if you want. It's up to you.
I would suggest
it's
that, Mr. Chairman.
Roll
Have a
call?
Yeah, roll call, then we know who's voting what.
Okay, Tara, do your thing.
You got it. Just taking them in the order they appear on my screen. Christine Chattel,
Yes.
John Rice,
Yes,
Charlene Donovan Langlois,
Yes.
Randy Blackmer,
Yes,
John B. Lenke,
Yes.
Mike Krogel,
Yes.
Brian Santos,
Yes.
Alvin Hill,
Yes.
Dave Poplawski.
Yes.
I think that was everyone. Yep, that's
Okay.
everyone.
a motion passes unanimously to renew the permit. Item 6, applications received after agenda posted,
None.
none. Citizens' comments, any citizens online?
If you are a citizen with a comment, the practice is you can unmute yourself or you may type your name and address into the chat window to be called on in order by the chairman.
Sorry, we'll just listen. Fine, we'll just listen.
Sarah, for some reason, my screen is different than it's always been before. If there's anyone that's want put in a chat, you'll have to tell me.
Yeah, I'm watching it, Randy. There is nobody entering into the chat, so I think you're probably good to go.
Yeah, this is Dave Held. I guess this is a good place to address this. I noticed you got on your agenda something for signing a boundary line adjustment Mylar for Mountford Construction. Yeah, agenda item number 10.
Yeah.
So I was not aware that the commission signed Mylars for property surveys. But just to bring you up to speed with what's going on there, I was actually writing the legal descriptions for one of those lots this afternoon and discovered a distance on the map that was incorrect. So I actually printed out a new Mylar and filed it in the land records this afternoon. So if you've got that Mylar there in front of you, it's probably an outdated Mylar, and one with the corrected distance has actually been recorded already in the land records. So just wanted to make you aware of that.
Good timing, Dave.
Yeah, I know.
All right, Cindy or Sarah, help me. Always.
Yeah, I'm trying to recall why that's on there. There was an issue with it last week while I was trying to get everything else ready. And the Mylar wasn't in the town clerk's office. So we had to call up Mumford to get it into the records. And I guess I was just told that the Mylar had to be signed by Joe. So I'm not, I apologize. It just came in the middle of so much other stuff last week in getting this meeting ready. So I just, okay, put it on the agenda. He brought Greg brought the Mylar in, and I said, yeah, all right, we'll put it on the agenda to have it signed. So I guess I got to find out why you guys are signing it. Thank you, David, for bringing that up.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
my recollection is that if there is a boundary line adjustment, we don't have to approve that. That just has to be filed with the town clerk. Somebody can correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe our regulations stipulate that. I'm sorry.
Sounds good to me, John. So we'll
All right, well, David, if this needs to be signed and we didn't do it till next month, that doesn't create a problem, does it?
Well, this was, I'm sorry.
Well, the reason I was writing the legal descriptions is he's actually, I believe he's got one of the properties under contract, so he's gonna be closing on it sometime in the near future, but before this was a re-subdivision actually that the commission approved, where we're adjusting boundaries between some of the lots. And there was a question about what pieces and parts would be applicable, because the re-subdivision was done before you changed the zoning regulations. When the original re-subdivision was done, this was in an R20 zone, it's been rezoned to RRAD. So all the lots do conform to the dimensional requirements of RRAD, and we just confirmed with Cindy that the setback requirements on the lots themselves would stay what they were with the subdivision approval. And I believe that we got the actual approval of that from the town's legal counsel. So,
All right, so.
but I don't think there's any need for the commission to actually sign this. It's basically just a property survey.
And I,
All right.
my put, and Randy, my put is that it's probably no action to be taken on item 10. 10 would
Okay.
be the best thing to do.
So I'll rule no action on item 10. If there needs to be something, bring it back to us next
I
meeting.
certainly will.
All right, so
Go back to item 8.
go back, right, item 8, planners report.
Yep, just wanted to give you guys an update. I can't remember if at the last meeting we had formally hired Tyke Planning Group to act as the consultant on the affordable housing plan. So if I did, this is redundant, but if not, that is the case. And John Guskowski, who is the principal there, and I are going to have a touch base call tomorrow. He and his partner, Mike D'Amato, and I, just to set procedures and stuff for going forward. And I expect we're going to start working on that soon with a working group. So I am looking for members of that working group from this commission, the Housing Authority. I have 2 members. Selectman Witkowski is going to take part in that, and I'll also be looking for folks from EDC. Those are sort of the key groups, I think, that sort of are working on the issues of affordable housing. If anybody else here on PZC is specifically interested in working on the affordable housing plan with us, please let me know. And I'm going to start making emails about that any minute now, I'm sure.
Does anyone got their hands up that they want to volunteer?
Don't be shy.
I'll try and make as many meetings as I can on that.
Okay, thank you, Randy. I would very much enjoy having you there.
Well, we'll see. That'll be determined later.
Well, so will the schedule at this point. So we're all in the same boat.
Okay.
So that'll be you and Joe Perotti from this commission.
Okay. Anyone else? Any questions for Tara? Not, we'll move on to CEO memo.
I think everything that is in my memo, we're taking care of through old business and I believe new business. So we'll take it up then.
We get there.
Yep.
Mr. Rice, you got a budget report?
A couple of comments to make. Just caution Cindy on office supplies, kind of running out of money. So anything that you're gonna buy, face shields, or buy the ones that you can wash, that you can reuse. Or something to that event, that we only have $44 left in that account. As I see you've been buying face shields and et cetera, which is okay. The other comment I want to make, because I missed that meeting, if I could, Mr. Chairman, is go back to the special meeting that you had on March 9th. going through the regulations, and on section one, I think it was page 2 of the minutes, required documents, it's indicating that a non-refundable application fee of $350 and public improvements $150. And it looks to me that you're removing those fees. Which one fee you can't remove is the money that you have to send to the state, that land use fee. So I would think, you might want to reconsider that or check that out. In that, if that's going to be the case, my concern with that when I read it is that when I made our budget proposal to the Board of Finance, one of the line items is the estimated revenue coming in from planning and zoning. And if we're going to eliminate all these charges for subdivisions, et cetera, and then Thursday night, I'm going to make a correction to the Board of Finance that we probably not going to have that type of the amount of revenue, which I estimated to be around $10,000 for.
Yeah, John, that's not removing fees. It's removing references to the specific amount of the fees in that item. Because for the similar reasons that we did it in other places in the zoning regulations rewrite, if you put it in an appendix, a table, you have the ability to amend your fees much more easily than you do if it's in the body of your regulations, which requires all of the usual.
Yeah, because I see
rigmarole.
it says remove fee amount. So if you take it out, are you planning on putting that out in the fee schedule? Is that what you're saying?
Correct.
Which we never did for the last 20 years. Not saying that we shouldn't, but that should be reviewed every year, which we don't do. But okay, if it's going to be in a fee schedule, then I'm good with it. But I just wanted to correct that. I didn't want to tell the Board of Finance that I estimate $10,000 in revenue, which discussing or thinking about the building committee, the amount of activity that they have, that we probably would be getting somewhere in that. I only raised it up $3,000 from last year's estimate, but okay, I'm good with that. That's the end of my report, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Anyone, any questions for John? Hearing none, we'll move on to 9, correspondence. Minutes from the Zoning Board of Appeals, 3 Town of Douglas and Sutton, Uxbridge Planning public hearing, planning notice, and legal notice of public hearing. Town of Webster Planning Board public meeting notice. Item 10, we have under control. Item 11, old business. Brickyard Road bonding.
I have not made an appointment, but the weather's getting nicer, so I should have a good report for you next month. So that's on my list to take care of for next month.
Okay. Zero Plum Road, Harold Merrick.
Okay, so I know I gave you a lot of information in the in my memo concerning the advanced work to present to the attorney information so he can draw up an agreement with Mr. Merrick. And we finally got that completed today. And I'm actually looking for it. And I know Mr. Merrick is here. And I sent that agreement to everyone. Oh, here it is. I'm sorry, via email. And it was the last agreement that I sent you, and it had yellow markings in it because the attorney and I added that today. Added that this afternoon. And so I have to ask Mr. Merrick if he had a chance to know what the addition was. It was done around 2:30 today. Mr. Merrick, are you there?
I am here.
Okay. So
Yeah, I read your agreement, but you're holding me responsible for people that you want to pass over to the airline trail. Now, I already signed an agreement that before this even happened. So I already paid for the building, man. I mean, what's going on? I really gonna hire a lawyer and go over this, or what's gonna happen now? It's been a year.
Well, that's your option. If you
That's my
want
option. It sure is.
to hire an attorney, but it is basically all the wording is what you agreed to.
No, I never agreed that I would be responsible for people walking or going down there. I don't want to be responsible for people crossing there that you're giving permission to cross. Why should I be held responsible for that?
I gotta put myself on hold. Sorry, guys.
Would any of you guys want to be responsible for you personally? Put the shoe on the other foot. I don't care if people go down there. I just don't want to be responsible for them. Or
Mr.
have
Chairman,
my
just a comment, John Rice, is that I interpreted that as that if you don't maintain that road in such a condition that somebody twists an ankle or falls or something, and then, we don't want that responsibility. That's gotta be you to make sure that road is passable and nobody,
What if somebody's riding their bicycle? It's
Well, put it this way, I think that's the condition. I read it. The only thing, Cindy, if you have that, which you highlighted in yellow, I didn't get a chance to read that because I had another meeting tonight that I attended. Could you read that for the commission? I don't know if the commission read the other agreement, the first one you sent out.
No.
But this
now
addition,
I'll find it and pull it up on the screen, guys. Hang on. Let me just scroll to the right section, and then I'll bring the screen share up.
well, we have Mr. Merrick on the line here. At the end of that, where it's gonna be pretty close to that airline trail, that business, I don't know, is that a business that's a logging business or a wood selling business? What's going on with that area?
that's what I do. I do land clearing, select harvesting, stuff like that. That's just wood. Actually, a lot of it came over by Thompson Speedway and Ravenel Road. I logged over there.
Oh,
That's just where I bring the wood.
And you have that business recorded in the town hall?
No, geez, I can't get anything done out in that town. It's been a year.
Well, it's just a matter of filing, going down, talk to the town clerk and file your business if you've been running that business up there.
Well, I didn't even have an address till the other day. Yeah.
Oh, okay,
I just got it when I went down to see Donna.
okay.
It's been a year. It's just getting frustrating to me. It really is. And I'm trying to work with everybody, and it's everything you guys suggest. I'm for it, but I don't want to be responsible for people.
Yeah, I'm not so sure that it reads that way, though.
If you can interpret it a different way,
Well, I might be looking at the wrong thing here.
Yeah.
And I'm looking
none
at.
of you guys would want to be responsible for a town letting people across your land. If they get hurt, you're gonna.
Well, let's just look at a few things. Go to the next page.
Right above the yellow heart.
Yeah, so let's just read number 6 there together, right? So this is where it talks about people.
Yeah.
Where it says Merrick also agrees and acknowledges that the public may use the driveway portion of Plum Road as bicycle and pedestrian access from improved portion of the Plum Road to the airline trail.
I have no problem.
Okay, so let's go now. Now let's go to the top there, which I think is what you're talking about.
Yeah.
How far up, Brian?
I
What
think
number?
it's the first line. It's item 2. The town shall not, no, go next page, Tara. It's right there.
Here we go.
The very first line.
Oh, I
item
see.
2. The town should not be held liable for damages or injuries arising out of any limitations on access by emergency or other vehicles over the driveway portion of Plum Road. So that doesn't deal with people.
Yeah.
But- So where are you specifically talking about? Because I read this entire document. I don't remember reading that.
That is where I'm talking
Yeah.
from 5, Mark, acknowledging.
Yeah, but I don't think that's talking about people. Somebody can correct me if I'm wrong, but that's not talking about people.
As long as I'm not held responsible for people, I have no problem.
I think this is Charlene. I was the one that suggested that to make sure that we had something in there so that we would always have access to that trail.
Yep, and that's
But
number
I-
6.
Right, but I don't think that he should be responsible for people. And I totally agree with him on that.
Yeah, and I don't think
that's good.
I don't think this document says that. And I'm sorry, Randy, for keep on jumping in here.
It's okay, because I was just reading through this one. I looked at the clock and I was late getting on the meeting, so I'm looking at this for this part of it the first time.
I'm fine with number 4. You're agreeing themselves that heir successor assigns to indemnify the town. So you're indemnifying, you're waiving your rights, its agents and officers and employees against, and you're issuing us a hold harmless agreement, which I'm totally fine with. I mean, that's an insurance claim. Okay. So I don't, Mr. Merrick, I don't know what line you're specifically talking about, but I don't believe that exists.
Okay.
In this document.
All right, so I'm not responsible for people. I must read it a different way.
Yeah. The, Randy, if I may go hold that right there, Tara. It's just that maybe, I don't know if we have to expand on his concern about other vehicles, because he just briefly mentioned a bicycle. Now, if somebody's riding a bicycle, is that considered a vehicle?
That's
No.
not the definition of vehicle.
Not, okay.
I've been through that, believe me, with other stuff, so I know that's not the definition of a vehicle.
Okay, double check on that, only because if I was in his shoes, I'd be concerned with that, because as he
Okay.
just mentioned somebody riding a bicycle on the airline trail, decides to come down Plum Road, gets hurt, and, so.
Yeah, 'cause that legally, that's your road, and I could never stop anybody from going down the trail anyway.
Right,
So
so
it's-
maybe Cindy, my suggestion would be is probably check with Rich, the lawyer, and see if there's any problem with that wording of vehicle, and maybe have a description of what a vehicle is.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean,
We already
that's
talked
my,
about the last meeting. This is Candace. But my next question is, if you're gonna stop like all vehicles from going from the improved portion of Plum Road and with the driveway portion of Plum Road, is there gonna be a sign there so people know not to drive down that way? It's just bicycles and pedestrians?
well, you have to have
It has been,
access.
it has
You have
been
to have
suggested that the
access.
town would do that.
Okay.
You have to have access to your home where you're gonna be building for the emergency vehicle.
Yeah, and the other question.
I'm talking
That's
about
the
for the
point.
public.
Yeah, for the public. Now the other question, we bought the Brodeur piece on the left side. And if my son wants to build there, is it gonna be a problem to have like a common driveway down?
Okay, here's the issue.
Yeah,
That's why you see what's in yellow right there, okay?
Yep.
yeah,
Any
because that's a
future,
totally separate lot that would just purchase.
can I finish talking,
Yeah.
please? All right.
Yeah.
The yellow there, any future development on the currently unimproved portion of Plum Road will be required to comply with all applicable town regulations and ordinances. What that means is that you're signing this agreement only for your lot, because your lot is a lot of record.
Okay,
8.8 acres goes back to 1957.
right.
So that's a lot of record before the zoning regulations. Now, I explained
Yeah.
all this to Doug Williams, okay?
Yeah.
So if Paul Broder is splitting his lot, which is what, 21 acres or something.
Correct, yeah.
So now we have a new lot. That is not a lot of record. That is a new lot, and a new lot has to conform to the current zoning regulations. So if you are going to develop a dwelling on that lot, then you have to have 150 feet of improved road on Plum Road.
Yeah. No.
So you can,
no,
no,
with
you
that-
cannot. So the answer is no, you cannot use that road for a driveway entrance to what you
Another
buy
car.
from from Paul Broder.
Yeah.
You have to
The
improve
only
it
way I
150 feet.
The only way I could do that is what? Pave the road, right? Bring it up. to
Right,
standard.
150 feet, yes.
Or
to
as
the
long as I
town
can do it, you know,
specifications.
because my son someday might want to build out there. That's why I'm
Okay.
asking.
And that's why that's in this agreement. So that whoever buys that part over there, if it does get split, and I assume that this is going forward, going
Yeah.
through for you, since I had a conversation with Doug Williams, Attorney Williams, that's why that is in there. Because now Paul Broder's land,
It's
21
new.
acres,
It's not
yeah,
grandfathered in.
ceases to be a lot of record, which is grandfathered into non-conforming, like
Okay.
yours was 8.8 acres grandfathered in because it's non-conforming,
Okay.
because it was a lot of record.
Yep. I understand now.
Okay,
Which
so
is
that
kind of
was,
on the record, and I was wondering why it took so long for this to go through.
because
why
of the different opinions on the status of Plum Road. The research was incredible. I
Yep.
had help from the assessor's office. I had help from inland wetlands agent. I had help from the building office. I had help from the town clerk's office.
Takes time.
Everybody helped to pull this together to find out that that road existed in 1934. And in 1965, when the highway, Route 52, which is now 395, when that went in, it is still there on the map, but it's an unimproved section
Yeah.
of Plum Road. But it had been there since 1934. It showed up on a map in 1934.
Thank God, right?
Yeah, and it was a lot of research and a lot of help from people in the town hall. So we're all the smarter for it. And that's why
Yeah,
it took so
thanks
long.
for all the research. But you know, when I bought that property, my buddy Brett's like, "Oh, you just got to bring it up to standards back when they built the road." I'm like, "Yeah, I could just imagine."
So
I thought the document was well written, Cindy.
okay, all right.
I concur.
Yeah.
Okay,
We need the motion on this, or what do we do with this?
Well, I think at the January meeting, you said that when an agreement was agreed upon between Mr. Merrick and the town, that he signs it and I sign the building permit. So as
Okay,
soon
well,
as he signs the agreement, I sign the building permit.
Okay,
and
So-
so that's, we don't need to take any action tonight then. That's,
he just needs to execute it.
Right.
Tomorrow, right?
Wednesday.
Wednesday.
Yeah.
What time?
I'll be in the office at 9 o'clock Wednesday morning.
No, Candace can't be there. She's working. She have to sign anything?
All right, so well, it depends. I really didn't look at the back of it. What did he put down here for signatures? There was a lot of stuff.
Yeah, there
You
was
have to
two
have it
signatures.
notarized. Oh, yeah, Candace has to sign it. What time tomorrow can you make it?
She works till 4, so 4:30.
Well, the town hall closes at 4. So
How
are you
about
in?
Thursday? There's later hours on Thursday.
Yeah, what time Thursday you close?
Yeah, 6 o'clock on Thursday.
Yeah, we could definitely make it 4:30
Okay.
Thursday.
All right, that'll be great. I'll stay to 4:30.
Okay,
All
okay,
right.
good.
thanks a lot.
All right.
All right, bye.
All set with Plum Road then for now? Hopefully good.
Well, let's hope it's a little bit longer than for now.
Well, that's what I said, hopefully for good.
Just,
All right.
Mr. Chairman, just one more comment. Cindy, just make sure, I know you're probably gonna do it anyway, but just as a reminder, that all of this agreement gets in the land records.
Oh, yes, yes,
Okay,
yes.
thank you.
Yep. Okay. All right, and I also, you want the definition of vehicle, and, all right, I can do that. All right,
Well, you know, there might be something in there that, you know, I don't know, somebody comes down in a scooter off of there and then he's responsible. I just don't want him to be
Hmm.
responsible for.
Yeah.
I want a better
That's,
definition of what, because that word that's in there is a vehicle, could be
Right.
a lot of things, I think.
Yeah, well, I ran up against that word, something else, and vehicle only means something,
Yeah,
with
because
car,
my
trucks and stuff like
recollection
that.
is anything that has the movement of people or material or thing could be a vehicle.
Okay,
But I would better
It would be
define,
a motorized vehicle.
motorized.
well, I'd
Yeah.
better
Like,
define.
like,
Well, it doesn't have to be motorized, like I say, somebody comes down and I don't know, John, I think a better definition to cover him with his concern of his liability would be good.
okay, I can email something off to Rich Roberts tomorrow.
If everybody's in
Well, I'm off.
favor, I mean, that's my comment, but
Okay, I can do that. I can do that tomorrow, and he'll have an answer for me when I get in there Wednesday.
Mr. Chair,
Yes,
Vice Chair, to what John Rice said, but also ask, anything that's motorized, you got your recreation vehicles, some of them, are motorized, so that is a definition we would have to have a little bit of clarification on, a vehicle is a vehicle, it could be what do you want to consider a vehicle, but if you get a recreation vehicle, get that stipulation or whatever, see if that is part of that. So we have a much better understanding. So Mr. Merrick and him, like he says, I see his point about responsibility and what Mr. Rice says, somebody riding their bike, a dirt mountain bike, a dirt bike or whatever, a motorcycle is a motorcycle, but it's motorized. So we have to have
Wait.
that.
Can we also add the, enter at your own risk on the road, or is that?
Yeah, why not? I agree.
I think that would be a
I
good
think
idea.
that's a good
that's
idea.
what I was gonna suggest was, if that's, if there's a sign that where Plum Road now ends or whatever, that from there, wherever your line starts, it's a private way and pass at your own risk or something like that.
That would work.
That makes sense.
Okay, passage your own. I'm sorry, I had to go find where my dog was.
is there any signage
Pass at your
on,
own risk.
is there any signage on the trail at all? Other than I think there's no motorized vehicles on the
There's no
trail.
sign anywhere on the road from where the cul-de-sac is all the way through to the trail. There's no signs at all.
Yeah. Oh,
I would ask Rich if we can get away with putting a sign at the end of what is will be town road, that just have a sign there, private way, pass at your own risk.
Randy, clarify, when you say Rich in this case, you mean Rich Benoit, not Rich Roberts.
I meant Rich Roberts, but well, either
You
one.
meant Rich Roberts, okay.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, he's right, Karen.
Okay, all right.
But Randy, I think you have to strike private way because,
Yeah,
it's not gonna be private. We're still allowing anybody coming off the trail or getting onto the trail to use that piece of property.
It's gonna be considered
Okay, I'll
an
put,
and private property. I don't know.
all right, private property, pass at your own risk.
But it's still supposed to be, Mr. Chairman, I think it's still supposed to be considered like a part of the town road, but it's gonna be unimproved and he's gonna be maintaining it to the specifications of the Director of Public Works, to meet that. Isn't that part of that whole thing?
That's part of the agreement, John, yeah.
Okay, yeah,
well, between Rich Roberts and Rich Benoit, we can figure out something that is politically correct. For lack of a better word, guys. Okay? Does that sound good?
Sounds good to me. I just hope that Rich Roberts comes up with a amicable solution.
Right, right. Okay.
I'll end it here. I don't mean to drag this out. I would have said trail access utilize at your own risk.
There you go.
That is great,
That
Brian.
does sound good.
I'm dropping the mic. I'm dropping it.
Utilize at your own risk. Okay.
All
I
right.
didn't, Brian, I didn't drop my mic yet.
All right. So Brian, should I say footpath trail?
No,
I don't think so.
Okay.
because you can put bicycles on it.
Yeah, that's
Well,
why I just
well,
said
I'm
trail
saying
access.
that so that nobody brings bicycles.
You can put no motorized vehicles.
You're
Trail.
not supposed to have any motorized vehicles on the airline trail, are they?
Right.
No, you're
I
right.
would say, I would put footpath trail. So, but whatever.
This way it covers
Okay.
everything.
Just the way Brian had it.
Okay, my computer keeps hitting me and saying my internet connection's weak. So if I lose you guys, I got to go on my other computer. It'll take a couple of minutes, right?
All right, well, let's move on, see if we can get through the next few items here.
Randy, just one more thing. Does the committee feel we ought to make a motion to approve that letter of intent or whatever you want to call that agreement? I'd feel comfortable for his sake if we approve that letter.
With the wording that Brian had added there somewhere.
Folks, if I can interrupt, Attorney Roberts just came into the meeting.
Okay.
What did I do now?
All right, you want to explain to him, Tara, you can, I've got to step away. John Rice, you're in charge till I get back. I'll be just a few minutes, couple
Okay.
minutes.
Rich,
Okay.
one of the questions that I had is in that agreement, I guess, the responsibility of vehicles. What describes a vehicle? Mr. Merrick wants to make sure that he doesn't have the responsibility or the liability of people walking or traversing on that area.
Well, that's two different things, John. First, you want the definition of vehicles, and then you
Well,
might.
I thought Rich was on. Didn't
Yeah, he
Terry-
is.
So,
He is, but that's two different things. He doesn't want the responsibility of people, and then we're concerned about what is the definition of vehicles that he wrote in the agreement. So
Well-
what constitutes a vehicle?
But Brian pretty much answered that about the people. There's nothing about people on there. It just says vehicles.
Right, so we need to know. Listen, you guys have given me, this has been on this desk for overwhelming.
Rich, can you just give us the definition of the legal definition of vehicle? What does that mean?
Well, I mean,
So
I
we-
guess the short answer
And a
is,
bike?
I mean, this is a draft, so it can mean whatever you want it to mean.
Yeah.
I think it was intended to mean motor vehicle,
Yeah.
you know, and you could narrow that down to say as defined in Title 14 of the Connecticut General Statutes, or you can leave it as broad as you want. I think, you know, I didn't mean this to be the cast in stone. It was for review and comment. So,
Yeah.
you know, if you want clarification on what a vehicle is, I can do that. I just need a little guidance on that.
John, if it's okay with you, I think at the beginning of these, I think it's the second page now. It's left me what page it's on.
I'll pull it back up.
It's just the word vehicle. I think each one or the other, say motor vehicle, or give the Connecticut General Statute on definition of vehicle and where to find it. I think that would probably
Right.
solve our problems there.
I think I agree, Brian.
Okay.
And the only other thing, Rich, was we wanted to approve a sign at the entry of Plum Road that said, just to kind of give people that are going to walk or utilize their bike or whatever means, says trail access, utilize at your own risk. So people know that they're entering into somewhere that they're entering at their own risk.
Was that going to be at the very beginning of the road, or is
Yes.
it at,
Yeah.
well, I mean, that's your road, so you can do what you want there.
Mr. Chair, Mr. Rice, should we put it at both ends? So anybody coming off the airline trail, if they're coming down off of there? Just have it.
Yes, you
That's a
took my
good
words
point,
right
Dave.
out.
That's a good point, Dave. Yep. I would put it at both ends. Yep.
Okay.
Okay,
Tara,
I'm back.
Tara, I'm joining
Yeah.
the meeting on my other computer and I'm going to leave this meeting.
Okay,
can
I
you-
just admitted you on the other, so
Okay.
you'll be
All right,
in.
I'm leaving. Okay.
So I don't know if we need a motion to do all of that, and I'm happy to do that. But
All right,
I
so
ju-
the
I-
motion to you,
Brian-
Brian?
Brian, I just thought, just the motion that we agreed with that agreement that was
Yeah.
drawn up. I thought it was well done.
yeah, so I'll make a motion to approve the agreement with the following two amendments, that Rich will update the definition of the word vehicle. And do we need to put the signage on here somewhere, and that we add two signs at the beginning and end of Plum Road that says trail access utilized at your own risk? And I don't know where that fits into this document, but I'll let Rich decide where that goes.
Okay.
Well, I think that's good, Brian, in that at the beginning of this, if I recall right, there was things that the Rich Benoit had to do anyway. So adding a couple of signs would be good.
Okay.
Put that in for his responsibility. Do we have a second on that motion of Brian's?
I'll second it.
Okay, John Linky seconds. Roll call vote. Sarah, if you may, please.
I will. Brian Santos,
Yes.
John B. Lenke,
Yes.
Mike Krogel,
Yes.
John Rice,
Yes.
Randy Blackmer, if you're back in,
I'm back. Yes.
Charlene Langlois,
Yes.
Dave Poplawski,
Dave Poplawski, yes.
Christine Chattel,
Yes.
Alvin Hill,
Alvin Hill, yes.
and I think looks like that's everybody. Did I miss anyone? I don't think I missed anyone.
All right, can I interrupt here for a minute? I was having trouble on my computer getting the voice. So what did you guys just vote on?
But there's going to have to be some updates, two minor updates. Hopefully Rich can get that over to you tomorrow, and then we'll just advise the Merricks on Wednesday. I don't even know if they're still on the phone when they come in to sign this thing. They're
We're here.
Thursday.
Yeah, or whatever.
All right,
This week.
so
Yeah.
it's just two updates. So somebody is going to let me know what those updates are.
Falling asleep over there? No.
Gloria should have them, Cindy.
Subject's next.
Yeah, but I don't get them till Wednesday. Okay. All right.
Clarifying the definition of vehicle and putting signs at either end saying trail access utilized at your own risk.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Very good. All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Rich.
Oh,
Thanks, Rich.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
timing was
Okay,
good, I guess.
are we all set on Plum Road for now then?
Yes, we are. We're ready to go to
Okay. Move
Madison
on
Ave.
to item C, Madison Ave.
Okay, last meeting you asked me to research what was going on up there. So the following is my research on your concerns. I just copied what the agreement was at the December 23rd, 2019 PCZ meeting. And so I'll just run through it. Number one, the surety bond it has not been released. It's still in place. All drainage conditions shall be completed by August 3rd, 2020. Wetlands agent submitted to Attorney Roberts a rewrite of the drainage easement. And this was forwarded to Madison Avenue for signature. Madison Ave attorney has to file the easement. Agent also stated, which was Marla, everything was in place for lot 18. The third thing, inland wetlands concern addressed, inland wetlands approval is in the Madison Avenue file, and that was dated March 8th, 2021. I have only signed 3 certificates of occupancy. I have signed many building permits for that area, but only 3 certificates of occupancy, as you stated in the conditions. Is there anything else here? Oh, yeah. Okay, contractor owner shall maintain the road and, and all public improvements until such time as approved by the Thompson Public Works Director, CEO, and the Thompson Planning and Zoning Commission. Okay, here's the situation of the road. The road has been approved by the Board of Selectmen, but not adopted to date. Before the road is adopted, any base coat repairs due to heavy traffic needs to meet the Director of Public Works specification before the final coat is installed, and then the road is adopted. And then the sixth point of that meeting was, increasing the bond, which was increased, and like I said, it's still in there. So, do you have any more questions of me concerning Madison Ave?
I do. Just, okay.
Yes.
Oh, who's that?
Say who you are.
Am I speaking first? I thought I
Yeah.
had it. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Mike Krogel. My concerns are the people living there without an occupancy permit. And by Madison Avenue itself, I believe that before the town or whoever, the selectmen, the planning and zoning commission, whoever approves this road totally, that maybe some borings should be done to confirm that the first base of this road meets the requirements before the second coat is put on. It seems a little rough up there right now. And my understanding is that if the base coat is not proper, the second coat is not going to adhere to it very well. And there's going to be issues down the road. So I would recommend that some borings be done by the highway department, and maybe a few board members go up to watch this also, just to confirm that everything is copacetic.
Okay, I can send that over to Rich Roberts. That's not, Rich Benoit. That's not a problem.
And I think that it should be Rich Benoit's preview whether he wants to do borings to that he knows what he's doing on that. I don't think it's our job description to go up and try and boss the job.
Okay, well, I think at this point, seeing everything that's going on up there, I think we should be more proactive than reactive, because this is just turning out to be a very shady deal. We tried to help somebody out and we're being taken advantage of.
Can we just, Cindy, can you just write, what's his name? Is his name Brian that owns this place, Madison?
I think so. Yeah, I think so.
Whatever the gentleman's name is, I came in. Can you email him and say, hey, provide us an update of where you are, please?
Okay.
See what he says.
Okay.
And say, hey, what about C of O's and stuff like that? To Mike Krogel's point, at least we'll call him out on it, right? And say, hey, what's going on?
Well, I know that if I didn't have an OC, I wouldn't be in that house and I'd be thrown out of it real quick.
Yeah.
Well, like I said, I've only signed 3.
Yeah.
So if there's more than 3 people, I guess the research has to be done why the more than 3 people are in there.
Yeah.
3 families.
Cindy, is that something that you're authorized to do? This is John Rice, is to go up and check to see if these, because someone approached me and indicated that there's more than 3 houses that are being occupied. Matter of fact, they made a suggestion to me. Why don't you go up at nighttime and you can see all the lights on in these houses?
Okay, I will go upstairs and I will see.
That's not my job, that's yours.
Okay, I will go upstairs and see. Certainly.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay.
Any other questions on Madison Ave?
Then I would like to make a proposal that the board, planning and zoning board, request for Rich Benoit to go out there, take a look at it, and upon his discretion to do what he thinks needs to be done on the road before final paving.
All right, we have a motion to ask Rich Benoit to go out and, how'd you word that?
You're asking me to go out and assess the value,
To assess the
How about just
situation.
how about Rich do a preliminary review of the road? Because I don't think it's final. I don't think it's final.
Is put on.
Okay. All right, so we have the motion. Is there a second?
What's the motion? Because I heard two. I'd prefer what Brian had just said, a preliminary investigation of the road conditions and what's going on up there.
Yeah.
If the final say is up to Rich Benoit, he's the one that's gonna have to approve that road. And he
That's
knows,
kind of where,
he knows he has the authority to do core sampling.
Well, I have, oh, yes, he does have the authority, but my question is, seeing that everything's happening up there, so, I don't want to say quickly, but so, whatever, okay? That before because if a second coat is put on, he then does the core samplings and the whole thing has to be torn up, we're just looking at more work. Because we'd have to pull the bond. Or use the bond.
I believe that doesn't he have to approve the initial work before they can put the final coat on?
I do not know.
Yes, Rich
Yeah, no, I
Benoit?
think he does. I think he does, Mike.
Yes, Rich has to approve
Yeah.
it before the final work goes on.
That
Coat
was in
goes on.
that was in the September 19 meeting.
All right, so there wasn't a second for that motion, but I think it's covered in what Rich is supposed to do anyway. If we just try and get the reports back from Mian, I think it's Mian and Rich Benoit for the next meeting, just to cover our bases would be good.
I agree.
All right. So that should cover what we need for Madison Ave for this meeting, right?
Yeah.
Any minute? Okay, we'll move on to Bernardi, 1267 Thompson Road.
Okay, I received a call from Mrs. Bernardi stating that the tenant that was evicted, which eviction was supported by the court, she refuses to leave. And because she will not leave, this puts the Bernardis behind in their timeline to close up the fourth apartment. And I just told her to please keep me updated on any progress they're making, and I will notify her of any immediate actions that you might be requiring her to have the property come in compliance. If you're willing to patiently wait for whatever happens to these tenants who are evicted during this pandemic, even though that eviction was created before the pandemic. It just took a long time to get into court because of the pandemic and the court's closing. But that was already out there before any hold on evictions. So do you want it to see what happens in the next month, or do you want me to tell her anything? What is your pleasure?
Tell her to keep us in the loop.
Okay. Anybody else?
Put it on next month's agenda, that's all, so we can.
Okay.
move on.
All right. I have not had any complaints.
But if the court can't evict them, then there's not much we can do and just
Yeah.
wait it out.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on to item 12, new business. Preliminary discussion, Brian Anstrom, subdivision 0 Gorin Road.
I don't know, Terry, do you know if he's here?
I was just checking the participant window, and I'm surprised to find that he is not, because he called me this afternoon and I sent him the Zoom link. But I'm going to stop sharing a minute so I can just go check my email, because something just came through. I'm just going to see if it was he by any
Okay.
slim chance. It was not, but yeah, he definitely, as of this afternoon, seems
Hello?
to intend to come in.
Hi, can you hear me?
Oh, you
Yeah.
there?
Yeah, it says Sherry Audette on the screen. I'm on her laptop. I
Okay.
apologize.
Oh, okay. Let me rename you. Let me rename you then. Hang on one second. Now we know who you are.
Thanks, Tara.
Okay, preliminary discussion.
I purchased 16 acres of land on Gowan Road and like to do probably a 4-lot subdivision, so I gave a little preliminary sketch to Cindy. In talking with Tara, I guess you're close to changing a regulation about shared driveways for rear lots. I guess it's in the zoning regulations, but not in the subdivision regulations. So before I start spending some money on engineering, I just wondered what your thoughts were and how soon that would be rectified, or if you're not considering. Because I have, as you can see on the plan, if you have it in front of you, I have a 9.5 acre, pretty large piece in the back that I can possibly get 2 out of.
Cindy, is that in the packet that I can pull up? Because I can go back to screen share. Did we lose Cindy?
Yeah,
Cindy, you're on mute.
Yeah, just what he gave us. That plan that he gave us is in their packet. Yeah.
It is in the packet. All right, so just
Yeah,
bear
just
with
the
me
hand-
while I find it and pull it up.
It's just the hand sketch, right? On the
Yeah.
back
Yeah,
of
the hand
overall
sketch,
plan.
yes.
Yeah. That's just the agenda.
So what
Talk
is
amongst
this
yourselves
question?
while I.
What is this question? Just that, looking at this sketch, is that going into that 9.5 acres at lot 2?
Yes. And, what's your ideas on shared driveways in the new?
Why would that be a shared driver if you got?
No.
One, 3, and 4 is on Gowan Road.
Right, but I did it this way because your regulations, subdivision regulations say there are no shared driveways. That's why I showed it this way. But I will redesign it if I can have shared driveways, which Tara believes is going to be, it's in the zoning regulations, but not in the subdivision regulations, from what I understand.
Well, my put, that's something to be corrected. But what it's showing, you can have 150 feet of frontage, 215 and 150 on Gowan Road. Why wouldn't those driveways coming out?
So there's 4 driveways here. But the 50-foot could service 2 lots, which typically, I do subdivisions in other towns, and typically you have shared driveways, 50 foot in, then you'd split that 9.5 into 2 4.5.
So you're thinking that a shared driveway, lot 1, 2, and 3 would share that one driveway? At
Nope,
50?
No.
It'd be lot 2 and maybe 2A, we'll call it.
Yeah, it's not shown, John.
It's not shown on it because you don't have that in your regulation.
2 would be broken up, John.
Oh,
2 would be made into 2. 2 and 2A, we'll call it. It's just so beautiful back there. There's 2 nice big pasture areas. So that's why
Yeah.
I'm asking that question, because I guess I've never, I do it a lot of times. I've never seen in the zoning regulations, but not in the subdivision regulations. I guess it was an error at some point in time.
Well, no, what it is, Brian, is that we just updated in full the zoning regulations in September of this year. The subdivision regulations are older, and therefore they are currently in conflict and need to be aligned. That is where the discrepancy arises.
Thank you. I was just kind of looking for a timeline before I'm going to start doing perk test and engineering.
Somebody help me here too. I'm getting myself confused. So if it's a shared driveway, but we do 150 feet of frontage on accepted streets, right? Or am I wrong on that?
They don't even need 150 feet with the new zoning reg. Now the subdivision regs, I think, still call for the 150.
No, Randy, I think you guys opted to stick with 150.
Yeah, we stuck with 150,
Okay.
Randy. My question is, does it have to be on a public street, the 150, not a shared driveway? Because number 2 would not be, it would be in the back. It would not be on a accepted street. It would be on a public driveway.
Right, so this is one of the items, guys, you may remember from the memo that Cindy put together with her thoughts, my thoughts, and Donna Hall's comments, that I believe a way to resolve that somewhat, and this actually would involve a further amendment to the zoning regulations as well, is to state that parcels arranged along a shared driveway are not considered interior lots for that purpose.
Yeah.
And in other words, right, because this way you could have this long skinny drive, this is one interior lot, but if it's one long skinny drive that leads to 2 lots, it's sort of, it's almost like it's the drive that counts. And then you're using the frontage as if for a flag lot here. So those are open questions to be discussed and resolved. Part of the purpose when Brian and I were talking earlier was, you know, a lot of these things that come up, they are abstractions until you have examples. So here is an example of somebody who wants to take advantage of what we've gone part way to articulate, and, you know, to consider those factors as we both continue the work to update the subdivision regulations and, you know, what we're doing on Monday, which is to just give little tweaks to the updated regulations as they've been adopted. Does that make sense?
So I'm looking for a little more information on how we should answer Brian.
I'm not so sure we can at this junction.
I think he's just looking for your input, you know, as a preliminary, right? Because we recommend in both of those documents that applicants come for informal consideration, for input, you know, what your thoughts are. And Brian, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but that's why you're in here tonight, right?
Correct.
So, well, I'm really at a loss on, his question was how long before we're gonna have the subdivision regs approved, and so that he could have a shared driveway there, and not, I'm really at a loss to try and give him an answer.
Yeah, that's all my.
What was the timeline, Miss Tara?
Well, that is
Yes, Lee.
that is kind of up to you guys. I mean, we have, from my perspective, I would like there to be a finished first draft of an updated subdivision regulations by the end of June, just because I think that's a nice tidy way, you know, matches the fiscal year, and then we could work on sort of the second iteration. I'd like to have the whole thing wrapped up before the end of the year, but you know, I can't dictate to that to you guys. All I can do is suggest and schedule meetings. I see Rich Roberts is still on the call. Rich, can you provide a clarifying point here? If we have conflict between these 2 books of regulations and the new regulations, in this case, clearly state that shared driveways are allowed, which it does. But the older document is in conflict. Does separability also apply across documents in that way because the intent is clear?
I mean, I'll give you the typical lawyer answer of it depends, but I think at the end of the day, the zoning regulations prevail.
Okay, well, that's good to know as well. Thank you.
Yep.
So what was that, Rich? You say that the new zoning regs would prevail?
Yeah, I mean, you can't have provisions in the subdivision regulations that allow things that aren't permitted by the zoning regulations. But unfortunately, it sounds like this situation is the opposite, where you have something that's permitted by the zoning regulations, but not permitted by the subdivision regulations.
Well, sounds like, Brian, you could proceed at your own risk and assume it's per the zoning regs, but
If I didn't want to split lot number 2, can I just do it as it's configured now? I know I've read a lot of pages today. So you can have a 50-foot frontage to a rear lot as the present subdivision regulations? I forgot about that, too.
Yeah, I believe that's correct. It'd be an interior lot.
yeah, we talked about that. I believe that is correct as well.
Okay.
Yep.
Like I said, it was just an idea. It is such a beautiful 9.5 acre lot. I might leave it like that. But I just wanted to see your feeling. I appreciate the input.
And then I don't know whether, I don't want to be on record as saying you can come back for a re-subdivision to split that after we get the, that would be an option.
Correct. Yeah,
After we
I've
get the
done that before.
I'm sorry?
I've done that before in other towns.
Okay.
All right.
I guess, well, I've told you all all I know. If somebody's got more to add to it, speak up.
That's it.
No, I'm good. Thanks, everyone.
Okay, sorry we couldn't be more helpful. All right, 520 Riverside Drive, Neil P. LLC preliminary site plan discussion.
It doesn't look like Neil or Janet is in the meeting, so you'll have to table that one.
Okay, we'll table that till next meeting. Discussion of property disposition, 0 Lillian Ave.
Hi, everybody. My name is Matt Janeo. I live at 30 Indian Inn Road. And this is something that I have been speaking with the Board of Selectmen on historically, and it just sort of got the all clear, so to speak, for me to speak to you all on it. I did send a letter today, this morning, to the commissioner as well as Gloria. And I'm not sure if that made the rounds. If it didn't, I'm happy to read that so that everybody kind of knows my intent here. So maybe just, what's the feeling? Did people receive that or no?
I didn't.
Okay. So I'm happy to read it. It's short, well, short enough, I think. Okay, so it reads, to the Planning and Zoning Commission. Last year, my wife and I moved into our forever home at 30 Indian Inn Road. Our property abuts 4.2 acres of town-owned land that has been classified as open space. Of all the abutting properties, our house shares the longest border with this land, measuring 511 feet. When you look at this land relative to our property, it appears as a seamless extension of our backyard. The address of the property is 0 Lillian Ave, and it's classified as account number 104162 and map block 1142650H as in hotel. In the letter, I say I've enclosed a map highlighting our parcel of land as well as the parcel of land we are interested in purchasing. After speaking in front of the Board of Selectmen, they confirmed this plot of land is currently under no restrictions that would prohibit its sale and should therefore be moved to the Planning and Zoning Commission for your consideration. Having this plot of land as open space is a wonderful thing. Knowing that the town intends on keeping it as open space is equally wonderful. If this was ever to change, the dynamic of our life at 30 Indian Road would change substantially. We bought this property because of its seclusion and because it gives us the space to raise a family and the safety of being set back from the road. Our concern is that this parcel has a small amount of frontage on Lillian Avenue and could one day be developed or further subdivided. Because of this, we are motivated to do anything we're able to do to ensure this area remains open space. To be abundantly clear, we would like to purchase this land with the caveat that it will remain open space forever. We will not build on the land. We will solely maintain it as an extension of our yard, and the town will therefore collect tax revenue on it. As we understand this plot of land would need to go out to bid, we must insist the requirement that this land is not to be built on be part of this listing. Additionally, we would be willing to sign any document that requires us to keep the land as open space. We would also be willing to enter an agreement with the town stating that if we were to ever sell the land, the town of Thompson would get first right of refusal and can therefore ensure it remains open space moving forward if that so benefits the town. The question of why we want this land for reasons beyond simply maintaining it as open space may arise. To this end, I must describe the condition of this land and for what it currently is being used. To put it simply, the land is not maintained by the town. It is overgrown and often serves as a dumping ground for people in the area. I personally regularly clean up large amounts of trash, construction debris, pet waste, compost, tires, etc. People use it for boat and automobile storage, firewood piles, and illegal ATV riders from both Webster and Thompson often ride at dangerous speeds through the field. In the relatively short amount of time we have lived here, I am already caring for this land more than it has been to this point. We want to care for this land and maintain it as our own. We want to breathe life back into it and be proud to have our land share such a vast border with it. The neighborhood at large can also look at it as a central point of beauty as opposed to the neglected catch-all that it has become. At the end of the day, we are only looking to be in charge of our own destiny. The future of this very pivotal parcel is in the town's hands. Because the plans surrounding this plot of land could change on any given day, we are here to ensure the land is maintained and remains open for the benefit of the community dynamic. We appreciate your consideration in allowing this parcel to be sold to us at fair market value. Thank you all very much for your time. Feel free to give us a call, send an email. Finally, as we have done with First Selectman St. Ange in the past, we are happy to walk the property with any interested parties at any time to further discuss our concerns. So apologies that went on for maybe longer than I thought it would take to read, but hopefully that gives people some context at what exactly we are asking. Thank you.
All right, we have the map in front of us. Tara, is that, or Cindy, that's where parcel A is? Is that where we're looking, where written parcel A?
Open space.
So the parcel in question is this one that says open space.
Okay.
And I believe Mr. Ginio's property is this one labeled number 5, the 2.98.
That is correct.
Okay. And he's interested in the whole 4.2 acres?
Say that again, sorry.
You're looking to buy the entire 4.2 acres?
Yes.
Can I just, could I just say something here?
Go for it.
Our inland wetlands agent always reads our agenda and picks up on issues that she might eventually be involved in. She has not had an opportunity to look at this land, this open space, to see the situation of the wetlands there. And so her recommendation to me today was to recommend to the commission that a decision not to be made on this until she has an opportunity to go out there to see what the condition of the wetlands are on this property.
What's your pleasure, commissioners?
Sean Rice, my comment, I'd like to have Rich pipe in that. I don't know if I read that letter or not, but I'm not sure we can sell the land, because once we take open space, it's supposed to be in perpetuity for forever. So I don't know how we're getting around that angle that we can sell it. I noticed the selectmen indicated that they can do that, but if you read when we dedicated that, or we took that land or acquired that land is a better term, part of that subdivision, it's supposed to stay that way as open space. I don't know how we're gonna be able to do that.
So if I may, and I certainly respect that stance, and I know you sat in on a couple of the meetings where I was speaking to the Board of Selectmen, and I do appreciate that stance. I guess my response is, I'm trying to be sort of an agent of the town here and act in the best interest of this space. And, again, I'm willing to do anything to keep it as the book definition of open space. My goal here, though, is to also make it something beautiful and not something that's neglected. And that's kind of my biggest concern is, aside from the fact that it has that frontage on Lillian Ave and could one day affect us to an even greater extent through construction. Aside from that, it's also not the best thing to be sharing a 511-foot border with. So I'm trying to find some sort of middle ground where I can serve the town, and then, also reap the benefits of that.
You mentioned access to Lillian Ave. That's where that turnaround is. I was out there the other day and for whatever reason, whether you picked it up or not, but I didn't see a whole lot of trash. I seen some ATV running through there all the time, which kind of bothers me, but
Yep. So I will tell you that I pick up trash there approximately once a week, and I'm not going to claim that it's become an absolute, trash pit or anything of the sort. What I am saying is that, there's a lot of times stuff that I think people are just having trouble discarding properly. So sometimes it's garbage bags, sometimes it's big styrofoam. There's tires out there. If you walk the space and go off those ATV paths that have been sort of forged through, there's, tires and other things out there. But I'm out there once a week.
yeah, I didn't go down. I came in off of Lillian Ave and sat in the turnaround, the cul-de-sac, and looked around, but that was the extent. As you indicated, I mentioned several times the intent when we do this type of thing, open space. As you can see, all the neighbors that are around that area, I just wish somebody would have the gumption to get it and utilize that and make something, maybe something along with the recreation department, because it'd be a nice recreation area. I don't know how many youngsters are in that area, but that's a good chunk of land to be utilized for recreation.
Yeah, can I jump in
Randy,
too?
go ahead, Brian. Go ahead, Brian.
Thanks. Yeah, John, I spent some time over there as well, sitting in that cul-de-sac area. I will say that is a pretty vast piece of property right there. As a builder, I'm actually very familiar with open space and Article 97 rules. I don't know if I'm not going to say they're exactly the same in Massachusetts that they are in Connecticut, but going on that premise of my Mass knowledge, they are very difficult to get out of. So I think we would need to tackle that front. Again, spending time in this community, I don't know of a playground or other shared space that, kids would enjoy, or some other recreation that the town could be supportive of and probably would want to see in this particular area. I do not know if the community is even aware of Matt making an offer to buy this piece of property, or what the community has to say about that. But in my opinion, I think this part of town would probably be better to have a nice community space that's maintained. But that's just my thoughts.
All right, well, first of all, Marla wants us to requested that we not make a decision until she has a chance to look at it. Maybe some of the rest of us can look at it before next month. And also, if somebody can do some research on, and I don't know if that's up to Rich to, well, we need his assistance to, if that's open space, what are the legalities of us selling that? If Marla says that that's all right.
Randy, if I may here, Amy did forward some questions to Attorney Roberts, some of which were questions of mine as well. And actually, there's a comment in the chat that kind of mirrors part of what my concerns is a strong word, points that were raised. And I want to partly address this to Mr. Ginio. It sounds to me like the prospective private buyer is interested in keeping the parcel of open space. So I think whether it is technically open is not necessarily in question here. But what I want to be sure Mr. Ginio understands is there is a strong implication, both in the minutes from when the parcel was originally approved and in the way the regulations themselves are written, that space not just be open, but be open to the public. So if the presumption is that this is appended onto Mr. Ginio's backyard, you know, how has he considered through the ramifications that it may not just be him and his actual neighbors walking that land. If it is open space for the public, it could be anyone. And, you know, I'm neutral. I'm fundamentally neutral as to whether it's maintained as open space by the town or by a private individual. It has to be in perpetuity. I think all of the regulatory language and all of everything supports that assertion. So my question is just the level of commitment the prospective buyer would have to the fact that that 4.2 acres is not just open space, but public space.
Yeah, and I appreciate you bringing that to my attention, as did First Selectman St. Ange in an email today. And fully committed, I guess, would be the 10,000 foot view. That being said, obviously, you know, knowing that property that again would be appended to our backyard, I guess my concern, or at least the things I would want clarity on, would be issues of liability, and then sort of issues of, for instance, when we talk about the ATVs that are passing through there, right? I think everybody's on the same page that they shouldn't be in there. So then there's a conversation about like, okay, can I add a fence on the Lillian Ave frontage, a fence that is passable by a pedestrian, much like most, you know, nature trails work and things like this, passable by pedestrians, but not by a recreational vehicle. It's those conversations that I would want to get into. But all that being said, no, fully committed to and serving as sort of a steward of that open space.
Chair, I know it's not a public hearing, but could you bring up the chat? It was on there. Somebody made a comment, a couple of comments. I think there's 3 people on there. Did you get that
yes,
comment?
although I'm not sure what the visibility is. If I stop screen share, I think you can expand the chat window. But I think you do that individually on your individual views.
Because the comment came up, but I started reading it first. Something about 11.
I can read it.
Yeah, John, just hit your chat button. You'll see it.
Yeah, it's on the bottom middle, John. It says
Yeah,
chat
I
right
see
next to
it.
participants.
I see the chat. Okay, I saw it.
I'll read it for the audio record, though. The comment is submitted by Richard Morse. I believe this open space was left to and for the use of area residents. And then he followed that up with, there are 11 new homes being built there. Why will they not be allowed to use this? That is why the circle was paved and put in for parking. So those were Mr. Morse's comments on the topic.
Yeah, okay.
Well, just to acknowledge the circle, I don't know when the cul-de-sac was built, but if it's truly identified by Connecticut as open space, you are not allowed to build residence on open space. You cannot build foundations on an open space parcel, period.
Mr. Chairman.
I don't think he plans on building anything, Brian. I think we should have Cindy look up that section 825 Connecticut General Statutes, which deals with the open space. They may have, when we did that, because I was on the board at the time, of course, is that cul-de-sac was put in for that specific purpose, that hopefully that would be a recreational area that people drive down, park on the cul-de-sac and use it. But it's too, in my foot, I don't know, I was telling somebody today, I wish that whole neighborhood would get together and do something with it in conjunction with the rec department.
Yeah, Mike?
Yes, sir. As for open space, you guys can decide whatever the regulations say. My question is that if we do open up this parcel for sale, it would have to go out to bid, as the abutter acknowledges, and there's no guarantee that he is going to get the bid on the property, which would defeat the whole purpose of him wanting to have open space in his backyard and having a pristine area. Just want to let that be brought out there, that the highest bidder gets it and they can do what they want with it, if it was to go that route, which I do not recommend.
Well, I guess, just on the off chance that it is conveyed, I think it would be within the town's jurisdiction to set the terms and conditions on which it would be conveyed, and one of those could be that it would be encumbered by an open space conservation easement, that reflects what this commission and the town want to have on it. We're having this conversation now because it was sort of vague and ambiguous in 2006, and there was no, document recorded at the time. It was just a case of, conversation between Commissioners Rice and Blackmer talking about, making it available to the neighborhood and to the public and so forth, and it wasn't documented at the time. So if it were to be put up for sale to Mr. Ginio or to anyone else, you make it clear that, here are the terms and conditions that you're taking it subject to, and you can have it restricted in whatever ways are consistent with the commission's vision of that open space.
Randy, it looks like there's and again, as John points out, it's not a public hearing, but this is informal consideration. So Mike Hebert, do you have your hand up with a comment? Is that correct?
Yes, I do. I'm also a butter to that property. And Mr. Gio's points with four-wheelers and things of that, I will echo. I have a little bit of a different take on it. I don't mind that the space is undeveloped and common space. But I would ask that if, in fact, that the opportunity to purchase that land were to come to a reality, that we be offered the opportunity to expand our properties here on Bonnet Acres to at least 1 acre. So we no longer have non-conforming lots and could utilize some of that space.
But,
Just open a can of worms.
yeah,
Randy, if you wanna, just then my last comment, if this commission in our current regulations, okay, go to page 44 and read the type of open space to be dedicated. That'll give you some idea of what we look for when we dedicate open space. Not to go through it tonight, but something to read.
You're talking about page 44 of the subdivision regulations, yes?
Correct.
Yeah.
But not to go through, belabor this anymore tonight, but
well, I think that we need to table this for this meeting, at least for Marla's request, and we can see if anyone wants to take a look at that in the meantime and put it back on the agenda for next meeting to discuss it further.
Mr. Chair?
Yes?
I walked the property Saturday afternoon, and when I got back from Hartford, and I walked the whole thing all the way around, in the middle, side to side, and all the abuttings. And what I got pictures, I took pictures of that big pile of stumps and whatever from where those houses were built, and there was a stump. I don't know how it got there, but at least a couple 100 feet from, I would say, if there's wherever the borderline is, how it got there, I don't know, unless Hercules carried it in there. It is a good piece of property. It was intent, like Mr. Rice said, back in '06 when this whole thing went down. I think the members back then was Mr. Touche, John Rice, Jim Nome. Who else? There was, I had all the names of that P&Z people back then. And Mr. Rice is right. It was intent for open space, and it could be used for any recreation, because how are people from that end of East Thompson gonna go to Bald Hill? So if you had something there for the people in the East Thompson area, perfect spot. Then you got Bald Hill that would take care of this end of Thompson. So you'll probably have two, but again, Mr. Rice made a good assumption that the people in that area that border this property need to get together. And if we're gonna start putting up open space property in this town up for sale, why don't we just take all open space property in this town and throw it out there and let everybody bid on it? That's my feeling. And excuse me, and let's see what Mr. Rich Roberts has to say on the legal side, if we could do it as well.
You want Rich to speak on that now, or?
No, we got to table it anyway, but give him time to do maybe a little better research for Cynthia and for Cindy, or Cynthia and Miss Tara and all of that. So we, as commissioners, we can have a better idea. But if we're going to do this, we're going to be opening a can of worms. So let's do it right.
Mr. Commissioner, I think if there's any neighborhood in the town of Thompson that would benefit from a open space, that's the neighborhood.
Yep, I agree.
The amount of homes, the amount of kids that are down there, they have access to the Webster Lake, a lot of deeded access to the Webster Lake. So it's a heavily populated area with a lot of children, and their closest playground is on Wilsonville. If you could pick up Wilsonville playground and put it over there, you'd see kids on those swings as soon as school got out.
Yep, I agree, Dave.
And
that was my point.
I'm not speaking against it. I think that I was on that land. I think I moved a piece of equipment from there many years ago, and it is a lot of this conservation land. If it's not taken care of, it just grows up to brush and becomes I won't call it an eyesore, but then again, it becomes totally useless. And if we've got somebody that's interested in trying to clean it up and make it presentable and so that other people can use it as well, I don't think we want to shut it off completely, but I think we need to do some research on it.
And if I may just say one final word here, I appreciate all the comments from everybody coming in. I think they're all valuable. I want to be very clear that I would love if there was a playground or something, like a nice finished area, a recreational area that people from the neighborhood could come to and gather, because it would be, great to look at, great to experience, great to be a part of. I have absolutely nothing against that. In fact, I would be for that. What I am also trying to do here is exist in a bit of a reality based on the last 15 years of that property. And I'm trying to be a steward of that open space and trying to improve it and also keep community engagement in that space, in a spot where maybe the town is unable to at this point. So, that's all I'm saying. I don't disagree with a lot of the spirit of what's been said here tonight. I will just say that, I'm trying to make a reality and sort of I won't call it a compromise, but trying to bring reality to this in the only way I am capable of doing. So thank you all for your time.
All right.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
Yeah, my thought is still the same. Let's just put it off until next month. Let's get some good legal side of it and everything, and then we can this way we can all make a better decision. Is it worth doing it to put it out for bid, or whatever for this gentleman, and he wants to be the store? Okay, but now you're going to be involving other neighbors and stuff like that, like that one gentleman. So the whole thing is let's just see what the best avenue would be for
All
the
right,
whole.
so we need to table this until after Marla looks at it anyway, so.
Correct. Thank you.
So we'll table this till next month, and I don't know how much of the stuff that we've discussed can be acted in any way, or everybody needs to think about it, and you want to look at it, do so before next meeting. Put it on the agenda for next meeting. Agreed?
Yes.
Okay. That's it for Lillian Ave for tonight. Number 13, Commissioner's comments.
I just had one. Randy, I just wanted to acknowledge that Cindy, I did receive your email on the unapproved streets. And I believe their locations. I have not looked at that just yet as it relates to building permits. But I will hopefully for next meeting to present something, at least my thoughts on it. That's all. I just wanted to acknowledge receipt of the email from Cindy.
Okay, not hearing any other comments. Item 14.
Just one thing, Randy, before I forget, because I forgot under my report. For those of you who have not yet looked at the doodle poll for the next subdivision regulations review, I believe only Cindy, Alvin, and Dave have replied in this one.
Am I
Yes,
on that?
gold star.
You put me on that.
You should be, brother.
I'm with
I don't
Blanky.
know.
I want to do
can
the doodle pool.
Well, I'll resend it tomorrow, but that's to set an April meeting. So I'll send it again tomorrow, but please take a look at that so we can select an appropriate date.
You know better than me. You put my name down automatically.
I'll sign Mr. Lynch up for it, Tara. Don't worry about it like I did last time.
Okay, that works for me.
Okay, next meeting, P&Z meeting, special meeting discussion of 9/15/2020 amended regulations will be March 29th at 7 p.m. via Zoom. And the next regular meeting will be April 26th at 7 o'clock via Zoom. Motion to adjourn is in order.
I'll make that motion, Mr. Chairman.
Motion made.
Second. Let's go.
And second, to adjourn the meeting. Those in favor say aye.
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 No. Meeting, declare the meeting adjourned.
Good night.
Good night, everybody. Good meeting.
Good night.
Good night.